Good evening, good evening, good evening. And if you're looking at my face, you know what time it is. It's GameFACE time. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt None the Wiser Wise, and you're listening to the GameFACE podcast. And Matt, like always, before I get started, I got to go to the questions.
Get them.
If you're trying to figure out how to get a couple of extra bodyguards to protect you for those gambling sharks that are coming after you bet that money on that game this weekend and you lost, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out how to get tickets to the next playoff round, you're on the wrong podcast. However, if you're trying to get insight in the sports in the San Francisco Bay Area, you just put your GameFACE on. And if you're trying to get insight into sports on a national level, once again, you put your GameFACE on. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt None the Wiser Wise. Matt, what do we got?
It's playoff football season, and it's in full swing. 4 incredible games this weekend, but none better than the 49ers game. Now, it was not pretty. It was not pretty by any stretch of the imagination. If you would have told me that going into Saturday, that the 49ers wouldn't score until the third quarter, I would have told you that they would have been out of the game already. Mm-hmm. But they weren't. And they battled, and it was awesome. I mean, Lambeau Field, the snow, everything. Not to mention you had Steph Curry, the Niners kind of overshadow it, but you got Steph Curry hitting game winners, and you got the Warriors winning the last 2 games. So there's a lot going on. But like you said, like if you're trying to find bodyguards to pay your gambling debts because you've been losing your money, I encourage everyone right now to head on over to Bet Online. Bet Online would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. Bet Online remains the number one spot for all betting sports wagering action for 2022. So this year, with a new updated desktop and mobile website, sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to get started. They got football, basketball, hockey, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. So head on over to Bet Online. It's the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. Bet Online, it's where the game starts. And you mentioned those tickets as well. If you're here to find tickets to that game going on next weekend against the Rams, the Lambs, you're on the wrong podcast, because we don't live in LA County, and the Lambs were trying to block ticket sales to anybody that wasn't a resident of LA County, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that was very
because
stupid.
they didn't want Niner fans. Now, granted, they undid it. You can go buy tickets, but that's just crazy. That just shows you how scared they are of the 49ers coming in.
Well, apparently there was a Mrs. Wentworth who apparently decided that she was going to purchase all of those tickets so that Niner fans wouldn't be able to buy those tickets. And then they told her that she could not do that. So, yeah, this was a very just stupid move by the Rams. It's like, come on, dude, you really going to do that? It's like, why don't you just get out there and play some football, man? Okay? I mean, I'll tell you something. That game was amazing. And I tell you something, I have to say it right here on our show, man. I'm sorry, but I did not have the Niners winning that game. On paper, it didn't look like they were capable enough, because when you look at the Packers, the way they put up points and the way they've been averaging over 30 points a game, I thought, okay, you know what? We get into this round. It's nice. It will show that we had a successful season because we did get there. But to come out there with a W and the way it happened, I was just like, wow, okay. I tell you something. I know everybody's mouth at Lambeau Field when that kid got blocked, everybody was just okay. Everybody was just they were stunned, man. Nobody saw that coming, man. Everybody was just kind of like, I mean,
I've been saying the last few weeks, I've been saying if our D line can get home and get sacks and disrupt these quarterbacks, Dak Prescott being one in the Cowboy game, and
Right.
now Aaron Rodgers, and they've done exactly that. They have been ferocious. They have been getting home. They have been disruptive. I think there was like 18 pressures against Aaron Rodgers every time he dropped back. So, that's getting it done. And
Yeah.
they always say defense wins championships.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what propelled this team in 2019 to the Super Bowl was their defense. It was devastating. It was relentless. This defense is a little bit different because of coverage wise, but they did a great job in that game. And there was a moment in that game where the DB went out and got injured, and they immediately threw Josh Norman in. And I go, oh man, he's got burnt so bad recently that he hasn't even played. And credit to him, Josh Norman, he stepped up because immediately Aaron Rodgers went to Adams and they were trying to link up. And Norman, he didn't cause a penalty, and the ball wasn't caught. So kudos to him, man. Like, I'm just saying, the defense, they stepped up, and the 49ers did what they have not done traditionally all year, was special teams stepped up. And we saw they almost cost you a game in Dallas. To have a bounce back week like this week and to perform the way they did, shout out to special teams, man. So defense and special teams gets it done, because I'll tell you what, the offense was not going to get it done. It did not look pretty. It was tough. It was tough out there getting any yards for either of the quarterbacks. I mean, they both struggled. So shout out to the Niners, man. I was going nuts at my house watching that game.
But the interesting thing is that you had Elijah Mitchell, who carried the ball 17 times. He was averaging 3.1 yards per carry. He only gained 3 first downs, and Debo carried the ball 10 times, and he only gained 2 first downs. It really helps you to appreciate just how difficult it was to play in that weather. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was cold, but it wasn't as frigid and as icy as I thought it would be. And then in the second half, you start to see the snow actually start to come down. But it does help you to appreciate that anytime you got a situation where,
No, Green Bay stuffed the run. Let's give them that. But
they stuffed the run. But
one of those 2 first downs by Debo Samuel was one of the biggest first downs of the year. And it was a run on 3rd and 7 when you're trying to ice the game. And instead of throwing the ball and possibly get an incompletion and the clock stopping because you absolutely do not want to give the ball back to Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
And they ran it with Debo and he got the first down. That was the grittiest, gutsiest run we've seen all year. And he limped off the field after, but he got the job done.
Well, you think about this. You were talking about earlier about the defense of San Francisco, and you're right. You do have to credit that defense, especially the secondary. They actually played very well. Devontae Adams had 11 targets, 9 receptions, 90 yards, and he had 5 first downs. You held Devontae Adams to under 100 yards receiving, okay? Not to mention, when you look around the rest of the receiving core, 6 targets, 2 receptions, 6 receiving yards. I mean, that's zip up defense to me. It really is. And I did something. Hey, man, D'Amico Ryans. Okay, man, this guy, man, hey, shoot, the way they played them, I mean, you think about it. They have been lighting up the board all season, okay? Even in the playoffs. They get to San Francisco, all of a sudden, they can't do what they want to do. And the secondary, which was in question the entire season. And now, in that game, you look at that secondary, and all of a sudden, you're looking going, I mean, what is going on here? Even Rodgers was making him second guess. He would go back to look at a target and have to change. Okay, and I'm like, anytime a defense makes you do that as a Hall of Fame quarterback, which he's considered to be a Hall of Fame quarterback, I think that says something about that defensive secondary.
Yeah, I mean, they got healthy. They got healthy at the right time. Ambry Thomas has been playing incredible, rookie cornerback. So yeah, I mean the defensive, D'Amico Ryan's like, I mean, he's going to put himself in running for a head coaching position. If not this year, he continues doing this next year. He'll find himself a head coaching position real quick. So listen, I mean, to beat Green Bay in Green Bay,
Yeah.
you're the underdog. You're the 6th seed. You're going into the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
And to knock them off like that. I mean, it wasn't like they didn't blow them away, but you know what they did do? They did dominate them defensively. And Green Bay had a great defensive strategy. I mean, they did what they needed to do. They shut down the run. They got to the quarterback. At one point, I was like, man, can somebody block that D end, Davis, I think it is, for them? Like, could somebody block him? Like, he was just getting home all the time. At the beginning of the game, he had sacks. So he was in Jimmy's back pocket. And they worked that out. So great win. I'm actually glad that the Lambs beat Brady. Because number one, I don't ever want to see Brady go up against my team, because he's Brady. And we saw what he did coming back against the Lambs.
Right. That
game should have been done and over with.
Look, the Rams were trying very hard to give them the win. Oh my goodness, how many times did they cough up the ball? Okay, I mean, it was amazing to watch. It was like, are you serious right now? Why don't you just give it to them? If that's the case, you ain't gotta, make it look like a fumble, make it look like, we can't handle the football. It really was just kind of, when you look at LA, you always think to yourself, it's like, how can you figure out how to shoot yourself in the foot? You know what I mean? It's like they always figure out a way to do so. And I mean, I'm still a little nervous about this game just because of the situation, okay? Because it is the Rams, because it is the Niners, and because the Rams feel like they have something to prove because they have yet to beat this team, okay? And anything's possible in an NFC title game. Anything's possible. I do know this much. One of the keys for San Francisco, and something that they have been using this entire season, not to mention a lot of the local aficionados are ready to basically just pour gasoline on this thing and light up as a dumpster fire and walk away early in the season, simply because San Francisco just didn't know who their identity was. Okay,
they're just inconsistent. They never put it together, and now they're finally putting it together toward the end of the year and showing some consistency. So, I mean, you got to give it to them. I like to break it down like this. All right, head coaches for the Rams, and then you have Shanahan. Who's the best? Who, if they go head to head in a playoff game, who wins that out of those head coaches? You got McVay and you got Shanahan. Who are you giving the nod to?
You mean just them two?
Just them two. Head to head, brains versus brains, head coach versus head coach.
Well, I have to go with Kyle Shanahan simply because Shanahan, in my opinion, has a little more intellect in the game itself.
Well, he's got McVay's number. Let's put it there. Okay?
Well, yeah, he's got McVay's number too. But I'm saying, I think, what was it? I guess Michael Irvin was credited today in saying that he wished that Dallas had a Kyle Shanahan. Okay, because when you look at the way he draws those plays up, some of that stuff is pretty innovative. I mean, the Jets
using Trent Williams to clear out a whole side of the defense, on a run, that's pretty genius.
Yeah, okay. And then you have the fact that, I mean, a lot of people aren't talking about this. We've seen Deebo Samuel catch the football. We've seen Deebo Samuel run the football. Nobody's talking about the fact that this guy threw a touchdown this year.
Threw a touchdown. Hey, how about that kickoff return getting it to the 50 after halftime? Okay,
that's what I'm saying. It's like,
so we got the coaches, right? All right. Between the two quarterbacks, who's better quarterback? You got Stafford, you got Jimmy.
Well, I'm probably going to have to go with Stafford on that one, just simply because when you look at Stafford's stats versus Jimmy, Stafford's got clearly a better resume.
But he's not much in the play. I mean, not long playoff runs. I mean, it's been his first
not playoff runs,
experience, right?
But when you look at regular seasons, obviously he's going to be more dominant.
All right, defense. Who's got the better defense? defense wins championships.
I got to go with San Francisco.
All right,
Okay, I got to, yeah, because
there you have it. Niners are going to take this one.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things going on in San Francisco's defense that teams can't prepare for. You know what I mean? It's like that's one thing I noticed about their defense. You can't really figure them out from week to week because one week it could be Bosa, next week it could be Armstead. And by the way, Armstead had a really huge game in this one. They got the no-name guys, Ubicam, DJ Jones, Jordan Willis,
Arden Key.
Jordan Willis was on defense, and they used him for the punt return team. And look how that turned out. I mean, it's like there's just so many, nuts and bolts to that machine that you can't just go in there and think, well, you know what, we'll just draw up. It's like, well, no, because they have some weapons, and of course, we talk about Greenlaw, Mosley, of course Warner. Tchaikovsky Tart is still playing well, dude. That's that's the other thing. You need to give tips to Tchaikovsky Tart. This guy's been playing well all season, man. And
Jimmy Ward.
Yeah, Jimmy Ward. And hats off to Ambry Thomas, man. This is another kid who's come around. He got burnt early in the season, got a couple of PIs, and now it's like this guy is prepared. He knows what to expect. And it seems like he's coming in with really just a preparation schedule for himself. If that's what I'm seeing, that's what it looks like.
Well, he's definitely ready to play. And he's definitely stepped up, right? I mean, he took Josh Norman's spot. So when his number was called, he was ready, he stepped up. And let's not forget, I mean, he's got that game clinching pick against the Rams in week 18. So he's played against this team. He's got experience. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a super, super fun and interesting game. I see my paths to victory for the Niners is they're gonna have to do what they did in week 18, which is get Matthew Stafford very uncomfortable, because he looked really, really, really comfortable against Tampa Bay, sitting back there, kind of had all day, found his targets, got the ball there. So you have to get pressure on him. And then I think on the offensive side of the ball, like the run game's going to have to reappear, and they're going to have to get some yards.
I'll tell you something. To your point, I think that's something that Kyle's going to have to figure out too, because I'm sure he's aware that this is the game of games for the season. Okay, this is the one that matters. This is the one that's going to propel you to to the top of the hill. Okay, so I would think going into this game, you got to bring something a little more than just the running. Garoppolo's going to have to pass the football. He's going to have to, because understand, the Rams know them and they know the Rams. The Rams know they're going to try to run the football. They know that, and they're going to key in on that. They're going to try to take the run game away from them. And when they do, Garoppolo's got to pass the football, okay? And he's got to have guys that can catch. So I find Kyle, I go with my reps with Garoppolo, the receivers. I want reps, 50 reps, 70 reps. I want you to throw the football. I want your receivers to catch the football, okay? Because guess what? They're going to try to take the run game away from us, because that's what they're going to do. And I tell you something, Aaron Donald, that's what he's going to try to do. He knows. They know. Hey, and what has been our campaign all season? Run the football. So they know. Okay,
and that's how you're going to slow down Aaron Donald, though, too, is by keeping him honest and running the ball.
Right, that's true. And if you can get away with it, fine. But I'm saying if they try to key it on early, now you throw the football. See, one of the things I said about offense in the NFL is that you have to keep the defense honest. Okay, and how do you keep them honest? You got to be balanced on both sides, the run game and the pass. Okay. Because once you're balanced on both, now the defense doesn't know what to prepare for, because they don't know. It's like, well, they can run the ball, they can pass too. It's like, oh, great, now we got a long day. Yeah, you do. Okay, and that's what you want. You want to keep that defense on the field.
No, run clock. I mean, that's been the key to success against the Rams. So
yeah.
man, like I don't know what to do, because it's like, if they get through again, you go to the Super Bowl. I mean, in my book, you're looking at going up against Kansas City again, and you had a Super Bowl win in your pocket with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and you're going to face them again. Like, man, I don't know. I'm starting to get all the feels about it.
Well, this is the other thing. We can't all of a sudden just run it just yet, because, hey, guess what? They got to get through Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, and they've looked.
Man,
they got their cigars ready out there.
Man, the Bengals don't look too shabby, man. Okay, Joe Burrow's looking like a stud. He got hit 9 times and he still delivered. Okay, and you think about this. We watched the Bills Chiefs game, and you and I discussed this earlier, and I still think that the rules should be changed. I think the Bills should have had another shot at it. Okay, down the stretch, because it kind of felt like, well, okay, Bills scored, they took the lead. Then you allowed the Chiefs to come out and score. They took the lead, but the Bills didn't get another shot. So it's like, had they gave them another shot, they didn't score, then I'd be like, okay, great, Chiefs win. Okay, but you didn't give them another shot.
While I do agree with you, the overtime rule does need to be changed. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah.
Let me paint it another way, though. The Bills had their chance. They had their chance to not just get their opportunity in overtime or get to over. They had their chance to win the game. They botched it by not kicking a squib kick and kicking out of bounds. Mm-hmm. That would have wasted 4 or 5 seconds off the clock, because you have to remember, end of the game, the Bills are up 3. 13 seconds, kickoff, you kick it out of bounds. No time comes off the clock. You give Patrick Mahomes 13 seconds, and he goes 40 some odd yards in one play to get them in field goal range to tie the game.
Yeah.
To get you to overtime, where you lose the coin flip to lose the game. You didn't lose that game on the coin flip. You didn't lose that game because Kansas City went down and scored. You lost that game because for 13 seconds, you couldn't pull yourself together and defend. You couldn't squib kick to run time off the clock.
Wow.
That's why the Bills lost the game. Not because of a coin flip, not because of an overtime rule. Yes, that rule does need to be changed. But in this situation, the Bills cost themselves this game, not what the coin said.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, man. You're watching the game. I'm watching the game. All right. You see Willis with the block. The ball goes up in the air. Everybody's trying to figure out where the ball is. Okay. Right. Okay. All of a sudden, Tua Fonga looks like, oh, a gift. It just picks it up and runs in the end zone. And I'm just going, I'm like, are you serious right now? Did that really just happen? Did you just, man, I almost picked up my remote to see if I could, go back and see. I mean, that was a crazy turn of events.
Almost every game this weekend was crazy to me. I mean, the Bengals Titans game wasn't super intriguing. Mm-hmm. But all the rest of the games were. And yeah, that block punt, as a Niner fan, you just didn't know what was going on, because you've not seen the 49ers block. I can't tell you the last time I saw the 49ers block a punt. I can't tell you the last time I seen the 49ers block a kick.
They blocked 2 kicks.
So, and then, the ball's up in the air for what seemed like forever. Nobody on the field or the camera guy.
Yeah. The camera guy was right. The camera guy was fooled. He was like,
And you had 4 49ers. It falls right in front of 3 or 4 49ers right there to take it in. I mean, an incredible turn of events. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know. Jim? I mean, he hadn't driven down the field and scored all game. You're telling me that was going to be the moment he was going to do it? I mean, that was huge. That punt block.
Well, this is the thing. We saw 2 blocked kicks by the 49ers in that game. Like you said, they didn't block the kick all year, but hey, guess what? They blocked 2 of them. in a single game. And I think that's, you know, and it's something that I've basically have modeled around. And you look at San Francisco and you say to yourself, okay, well, you know what, we're going to go into San Francisco and we're gonna hassle Garoppolo, because if we do that, we're going to win the game. And it's like, well, no, you're not. It's like, why not? Because really, when you go into San Francisco, you have to beat San Francisco as a team, because they have aspects that they beat you with, but it's across the board. It isn't just one section of their team. In other words, it isn't just the offense. It isn't just the defense. You got to beat the special teams too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, well, look at it this way. You could key in on George Kittle. Great. You got Ayuk, you got Debo, you got Jennings. Okay. You still got your running back. All right. Those are still weapons. Right. All right. So now let's work on Ayuk. Let's take him away. Well, he's not a big enough part of the offense. You really may not have to worry about him. Well, let's worry about Debo. Okay. Well, Debo does 50 different things that we have to worry about Debo to try to take Debo out of the game plan. Right. So you're right. The 49ers do have multiple weapons where if you key in on one aspect of what they do, they're going to beat you elsewhere. And a lot of teams do not have that. Now, what the Lambs do have that does scare me is Odell Beckham, because since he's joined that team, he's really, really improved what they're doing, what the wide receivers are doing. So now you have legitimate threats for Stafford. So back to Jimmy, though, what I don't give him enough credit for is that man can stand in the pocket under duress and make throws, which a lot of quarterbacks can't do. We talk about getting to Stafford, get him off the spots, get him uncomfortable. He's not going to make those throws. Jimmy does that. And while he didn't have a great game in Green Bay, there was a few plays where he's standing there and the pocket is literally in his legs and he's standing there making throws. Yeah. A few of them, our guys didn't catch it. Kittle dropped one, Jennings dropped one, but still,
you dropped one too.
Yeah, that's pretty dang impressive. So we got to give Jimmy some credit there, because he ain't no slouch.
Well, no, but you know what he did do in the game, which allowed them to be able to get the win. He made very crucial throws, and the times that the receivers caught the ball was at crucial moments. Okay, it was like it wasn't so much the first half, but it was the second half, and it was in the fourth quarter, and it was when seconds were running. Okay, that's when he was making those key throws, and the guys were catching the football then. And that's something that I think even Green Bay just didn't count on. They just didn't think that, hey, you know what, down the stretch, and we've seen this happen. Down the stretch of a game, guys get tired. It's the fourth quarter, you've been playing all game, and you're playing in those elements, which makes it even worse. You remember I brought this up earlier, man. I've played football when it's icy outside. Okay, you catch a football when it's icy, it's like catching a rock. Okay, it's frozen. It hits your hands, it hurts. But they were catching a football, which I was surprised. I was like, wow, okay. Kittle made a catch. Debo made a catch. You saw a catch from Ayuk. Jennings made some key catches, and it was at a time when they really, really needed it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I think is, to your point about him making the throw. He made the throws, and they got the ball downfield when they really, really needed to.
Yeah, so here we go. 49ers against the Lambs on, what is it? Is it going to be a Sunday game? Sunday game at 3:30? Oh, man, I'm not sure I like that time, but
I tell you something. You know what's funny? It's like, man, dude, it's like you think about this, right? And you think about the beginning of the season and what they were saying about Garoppolo. We should put in Lance. Then they want to fire Kyle. And here we are, man. Playing the NFC title game. It's like, go figure, man. I don't think any team in the NFL picked San Francisco to be in the NFC title game.
No. I mean, I think going into the season, everybody had really, really high hopes, right? Because of all the work that they've done. 2020 was behind them, all the injuries, all that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think they were really coming in. And I know I did. I had really high expectations that they were going to take it deep this season. Then as the season went on, I was like, it may not be their year. They're going to have a respectable record. They may squeak into the playoffs. They're not going to make much noise. Let's replay what they've done. They beat, in my mind, a rival, the Dallas Cowboys. Number one offense in the league. They had it all: the glitz, the glamour, everything you need.
And by the way, stymied defense too, by the way.
Right. You beat them. All right. So then we go against another rival, another arch nemesis. I remember back in the days going up against Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers. And okay, so then you go into Lambeau, the number one seed, snow, ice, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Perfect conditions for the Packers.
Right? You go in there, the number one seed, you beat them. And now you're going to go into LA Lamb territory, which is now Niner territory, because we take that place over. And if you beat them, like they're again another rival, right? Another division rival. You beat them, dude. You're the you're the man. You're the most successful.
And guess what? And when it's come time to re-sign Kyle Shanahan, he'll get the contract he wants and the amount of money he wants, and no one will say a word if that happens.
Shut me up.
I got nothing to say.
You really can't. You can't complain with the record. I mean, look at all the teams he's been with and where those teams have ended before his tenure ended at those places, and he's been successful everywhere he goes. Yeah. So it's just now about getting over the hump, Kyle.
Yeah. So now, what are they now? 12-8 or 13-8?
12 and 7.
12-7. Wow. Okay, folks. You have been watching GameFACE, part of the Believe Talent Network. I am Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt, none the wise and wise. This is GameFACE, Bay Area Sports Magnified.